So, disclaimer, this podcast is not for the easily offended, nor is it for the weak. I'm going to say it how it is, and how it is how I'm going to say it. You either take it or leave it. You like it or you don't like it. But at the end of the day, this is my motherfucking podcast. And I'm going to say what I feel. So today with me, I have none other than my 4-year boyfriend. I mean, he's not 4 years old, but we've been together for 4 years.
Yeah, that sounded like some... I'm not even going to say it.
What?
Nah.
Say it! Anyways, I wanted to have this very first podcast with none other than my boyfriend because not only was he a huge reason as to why I got sober, but he also was the biggest part of helping me realize that I needed change. And I think that that's what I'm going to start it out with, is having partners who drink and having partners who don't drink, and how those both affect your sobriety. So I guess I'm going to take it back further than my current boyfriend to a previous partner I'd had in the past, and how being around somebody who was a frequent drinker and a frequent drug user, how easily it affected and influenced me to do the same. Now, we talk about the importance of environment all the time, that you are the sum of the environment you hang around. Same feather, flock together, one bad apple rottens the rest. And it wasn't until I got into my current relationship that I really saw that as truth. And it also made me reflect on certain friends that I had had. Not that I didn't love them, but I did for sure outgrow a lot of them. And I don't mean that from a way of I am superior, I am better now that I am sober. No, just your likes and interests change when you rid something that has only ever allowed you to perform worse. And once I had gotten rid of the alcohol, a lot of the bad behavior, a lot of the friends, a lot of the activities that I had once did, I no longer had. So when I was with this previous partner, I was easily influenced because that was my environment. It also led me into seeing nothing wrong with it, because the people around me were my biggest influence. And now if the people you're around see nothing wrong with being blacked out or passing out or throwing up or feeling sick or ill the next day, then to have that awareness on your own is slim to none.
Well, here's the thing. Not to like interrupt you, but like...
But you did.
But I did. Like, you're not going to have that awareness on your own. All you're going to know is that, like, you're sick and tired of your life. And
Right.
It's not until someone runs into someone like you on social media or in person and tells them, like, you know that's not normal, right?
Right.
And at first, it may not even hit them.
Well, that's
At first, they might be like, what do you mean? What? Like, what do you mean it's not normal?
That's what it was being with you. And I guess I hadn't got to speed through that story yet, but I mean, it wasn't until I was with you that I had saw you and your family didn't drink. You and your family didn't slam doors and break shit and get drunk at every family gathering. And I remember the first family gathering we had. Do you remember what that was?
Thanksgiving.
No, nobody there drank. I obviously snuck alcohol.
Like 15 people, not one person drank. For you, that must have been like...
It was different. And I remember
Alice in Wonderland.
I was feeling so uncomfortable, so I obviously brought alcohol with me and hid it. And I remember your parents actually going through the trash can and finding my little mini shooter. and
Yeah.
how they put the blame on me. And I was like, how could they?
And I was over here defending you like a dumbass. Like, what? That couldn't be her. Right.
I was
So
like,
naive I was.
there's 15 other people there. Of course, it had to be me. At the time, your mom had it out for me, but with with reason. Here I am. She can just sniff it out on me. I'm also tatted and white, non-religious.
Bro, you always mention the whiteness, and white had nothing to do
It had
with it.
everything to do with it. She wanted him to be with the Hispanic Christian girl, no tattoos.
I would have never been with a Hispanic Christian girl.
And then here I come breaking through the walls like, what up, motherfuckers? You here to tussle or what? So, anyways, to get back on topic, I had been around his family. I think it was about 6 months where it really started to set in. I was like, his brother doesn't drink. His dad was an ex-pastor. Lou doesn't drink. And then I was like, damn, is there something wrong with me? And I, being so stubborn and set in my ways, rather than let it help me, it ended up hurting me. And being around people who didn't drink made me more angry at the time. Now, we've been together for 4 years. I'm now a little over a year sober, so it took time, all right? Everybody's path to recovery, their awareness, it takes time. And I remember looking back now, like, damn, like I wish I had just gotten sober when we first met, but I would have been doing it for him at that time. And what I've learned is you can't do it for anybody. You have to do it for yourself. And it wasn't up until this last fuck up that I had, which wasn't like monumental. It wasn't the DUI. It wasn't doing jail time again. It wasn't
losing your dad.
It wasn't losing my dad. Yeah. It was like just a trip to Arizona. Sure, I got a little shitty, but it wasn't one of the worst ones, right? There had just been numerous amounts of time where I'm just like, I know deep in my heart, and if I'm to be honest with myself, I could be doing better. And even if I were to have had, our anniversary, third year, I believe, went to Gecko.
30 year?
Third year.
Oh.
I had 2 drinks. Was fine. Was responsible. The next day, felt like dog shit. Like, it didn't matter how little or how much. My body just always felt different. And for somebody who's so in alignment with her health goals and prioritizes and values health and goes to the gym and eats to the best of her ability, I'm not gonna lie, I need some fucking cookies. All right, I'm human. 'Cause I'm only human and I crash when I fall down.
All right.
So it just didn't make sense. And I'd already had the environment, so that was taken care of. Luis had no problem pointing it out to me, right? He came down with the hammer on that shit. He's like, hey, by the way, like, what the fuck? Like, you could be doing so much better. Like, and he's, very drill sergeant, very like, come on, like, be the best version of you. You're powerful beyond measure. Like, you can do way better, way fucking better, Cheyenne.
Exactly what you needed.
Yeah. And I needed that push. And that's the thing. Not everybody has that person who doesn't care if maybe at the moment you don't like them. Because trust me, there's plenty of moments where I displayed that towards my partner. Like, I don't like you right now. Never stopped loving him. But there was moments where I didn't like him.
A lot.
Okay.
No, which is like, which is fine. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, and right, keeping the conversation around your influences and like the people that you have around, right? Because that's ultimately like the whole subject of this episode. If you have people around you calling you out on certain things about yourself so that you can improve, a lot of people feel that discomfort and push those people away because they made them feel bad about themselves. But what people don't fucking realize is that those are the people that you should keep the closest, because they're being real with you, not just, allowing you to continuously keep drowning your life in alcohol more and more and more until you just become nothing, or you just die one day because you just overdid it so much, right? And so you didn't like me. We were dating each other. At a certain point, I had to draw the line, right? It eventually got there. Um, but like, even though I was consistently calling you out on that, on the fact that you were drinking, you didn't like it, but we still stuck around,
We
right?
worked through it because we realized early on that we're building a foundation, and I wasn't the only flawed one in the relationship. You were able to take accountability for the areas that you needed to work through and improve on. So it didn't become singular, even though in the moment I felt singled out and like I was, it was all on me because
Consistently being the issue.
I felt like my issues were bigger. But looking back, an issue is an issue, and it could be subjective. Something that you've gone through and are working through may seem small to me, but who am I to tell you?
Those are my big hurdles.
Those are your big hurdles, exactly. And when you're in a relationship, I do believe that as long as there's love and respect for each other, which respect wasn't something that we just inherently had for each other. It's something that we grew and developed over a period of time. And I think that's because not only were we both dealing with life stressors and the things that it is we were going through, we were also hurdling over like literal fucking life hurdles at the time. Like just thinking back to all the things that we had to overcome together as a couple, like from the day we moved in. Like it just.
You were getting evicted.
I was getting evicted, then you got sick, then you lost your job, then
And we moved
to Florida.
You lost $15,000 in crypto.
You got stolen $15,000
I didn't get paid $15,000, so $30,000 in total. Started piling up debt, moving to Florida, 3-day drive, only to get there and find out that we can't stay in that place and we have to break our lease, and that's gonna cost us $7,000, and we need the first and last payment for the next place, and we just don't have that. We're getting loans for 10th.
And then I quit my job.
And then you quit your job. Yeah.
All while Dad just died as well. I'm trying to figure out sobriety. I have no friends at the time. I have nobody who fucking gets it. I'm so alone and at my wit's end. I was losing it. But simultaneously keeping it together on the outside to the best of my ability, because it was just like
the only option you have.
The only
unless
option
you just want to die or,
And that's the thing. It's
give up on life.
When people, had made comments of like, oh, it must have been nice to take time off work. I always wanted to have a podcast to be able to like touch base on that. It was not nice. We had one income coming in. Miami's fucking expensive. Like if you're not a millionaire, you're broke. And even a millionaire, you're still considered broke. So
we literally went a whole 6 or 7 months without having any blinds to the front of the house.
Yeah, we lived
for like 6 months, everybody could see straight into the house.
We lived in North Miami, and it's not like the ghetto, but it wasn't the nicest neighborhood. That's literally the reason why we moved, was because there was so many gunshots, and we didn't have money for blinds, so we just had our windows wide open. And oh my God, just looking back at our lives, like it's insane.
But let's keep it on track. We're talking about like
having partners with sobriety. And so, I mean, at that house, like I'm pretty sure you can recall the day that, I felt my lowest with you. It was the day with the twisted tea and cigarettes laying there on the ground.
Outside.
And so you walk me through, like, what was your thought process, like, when you found me in that state, just, like, so done with life?
I mean, it's just like, man, you have like so much love for somebody, but at a certain point, you have to draw the line. Well, this is if you care about yourself, which I don't like to consider myself a narcissist, but I have love for myself. I care about my future. And even if my mom, dad, brother, girlfriend, if a person that close is getting in the way, I will remove you. Like I've had no problem removing family members from my life in the past. And so although it was rough, you know, I was really starting to consider like I don't know if I can continue doing this, and I just like walk outside and I see you laying on the ground and I know you're just wasted. I'm like, bro, what a fucking loser. Like this, and I'm a loser too, because I'm over here, I'm tolerating it, right? I'm keeping it around my life, and that might sound super fucking harsh, but that's just the truth.
This is why I said nobody here who can be offended is
Yeah.
supposed to be in this podcast.
It's like, it's like at that time, like I knew the people that you have closest to you are the most important thing that you should keep an eye on.
They affect you in the biggest way.
Correct. Like they influence you. Like they're directly tied to you. So if you're someone that wants any sort of improvement in your life, you have to heavily, heavily assess the people that you have around you. And I knew that. And seeing you there, like on the floor, just zonked out, it it made me feel shitty about myself because I'm like, fuck, is this going to be my life? Like all my life, my parents always telling me like, hey, like who you pick as your partner matters. It matters. It matters. And I'm just like looking at my situation, and it's like I love you, right? Like I genuinely have love for you, and I'm like, bro, I can't give up on her easily, but at the same time, at what point is it the right time to let somebody go?
Right.
I didn't know. Like I didn't know. And so I just saw you there and I was like, bro, like what the fuck are you doing?
I remember how mad I was when you threw away my entire like case of twisted teas.
And all yeah, and all I could do was like, you had the case, it was still full there. You had like I found the cigarettes in the back, and I'm just like throwing all that shit away and like just breaking the cigarettes and stuff.
And
But
that's the thing. You can love somebody so much, right? Because I understood why you were so upset with me. I was upset with me. I was almost self sabotaging our relationship because I had something good, but part of me felt undeserving. And in doing that, I became a,
well,
a
which you will.
problem.
Yeah.
A problem in your life. And although, yes, you love me, it's important in that moment that you ask yourself, do I love this person more than I love myself? And that sounds fucked up. But you have to a degree, love yourself a bit more to know what you will and what you won't tolerate. And I always say, Lou is the one who changed my life. And, thank God he stuck by me, and his love for me and patience was so strong. But I mean, what I put him through was so unfair, regardless of what my justifications were. Putting people through that because you're hurt and you're damaged, at the end of the day, is still fucked. And I'm lucky and fortunate to be sitting across from him right now and having these conversations in hopes that we help somebody who's not figuring it out, doesn't have that person to point it out to them. Circling it back to like what you said, you need those people to point out your shit, you know. And everybody these days is like, how is it my place? Or like, you know, I don't want to offend this person, right? It's like, you have no problem
You don't
offending
love them.
people. Yeah, you don't love them enough, because if you truly love somebody, you'll call them out on their shit. It's okay if you don't like me right now. I'm helping you for the future. And so many people don't have the courage because they're cowards of the fact that, oh, I need this person to like me. The only person you need to like you is yourself. And if you're lying to somebody that you love and you're being honest with yourself, you can't truly like yourself. You can't love yourself, because you know you're doing this person a disservice. You're doing this person a disservice by not telling them essentially what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
What's true? What's real?
You're keeping their quality of life poor because you don't have the strength to be able to call them out and just like take some of the heat and be like, I'm gonna tell you how it is regardless. Like, because I love you and I am telling you, like, this is what you need to be working on, and be able to just do that consistently, you know? And like, just to like, right, because that's her story and everything, but like how it applies, you know, to the conversation that you started off with. It's like the people that you have around, like birds of the same feather flock together. Like, everybody fucking knows that quote. Oh yeah, birds of the feather flock together, the same feather flock together.
And they say it like
But
it's
then
a
when
they say it like it's a jingle or something.
yeah, like they say it like, oh yeah, like be careful who you have around. Like birds of the same feather flock together. But then when you point out, like, okay, well, let's look at your top three friends, 1, 2, 3. It's like, look at them. Would you be proud?
And it's
Would you be proud or offended
right.
for somebody to be like, look at your friends? If somebody told you, Shy, like, look at your friends, would you feel offended, or would you feel like, fuck yeah, those are my friends?
Oh, at this point, fuck yeah, those are my friends. And like, that's the common thing that I mistaked. I wanted quantity. I wanted so many friends. But are those people willing to fucking die for you? Are those people willing to have your back if shit hits the fan? Are those people checking in on you if you go MIA off of social media? Are those people calling you? Are they texting you? Or is this like a take relationship? That's why I care about quality. And I would rather have absolutely no friends if that means that none of them are quality. Luckily,
Correct.
I got a handful of quality people in my life, but when I was in that state of mind of I wanted to be liked by everyone, I wanted to be a part of everything, I encountered FOMO, just didn't want to miss out on anything, always wanted to be invited, and when I wasn't, took it offensively. Now I look at it like I give two shits if I'm invited to something, especially if it doesn't serve me. Is this going to push me towards my goals, or is this going to set me back 10 steps by me doing that?
Here's the thing, like, if you're trying to be liked by everyone, guess what's going to happen? You're going to compromise on your standards to try to fit a certain group of people.
Yeah.
So like, you have no control over your own life because you're being controlled by everybody, and just constantly being anxious, like, do these people like me? Like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, always try to shapeshift to be like other people, and not having any self-respect for yourself, and being like, these are my standards. This is who I want to be. This is what I identify as. And if these other people don't fit my agenda and like what I want to do for myself and don't support me, you have to be able to have that respect, enough respect for yourself. Like, start there, having enough respect for you to say, these people, I'm just better off not being around them, and I'm going to wait and be by myself. Some of the times, most of the times, it's a lot better for you to just be by yourself. Like, you don't need people around you. You don't need to be developing friendships, this and that. Because the thing is, this is the truth. While you're over here with that mindset of, oh, I need to work on my friendships. I can't just like life is about developing relationships. Correct. I completely agree with that. But the person that you are right now at this moment, if you're striving to develop relationships, you're only pulling and attracting people that are essentially not the greatest for you. I was gonna say the gutter, but like they're not the greatest for you. And the reason for that is because you can't attract better because you just aren't better. And
But
everybody wants to attract better in their lives, but the thing is that you need to understand this. For you to attract better, you need to attract better. Because just put it super simple like this, right? And I'm not saying that everybody has the aspirations to like be friends with the billionaire. Like, just, it's just an example, okay? Like, if you're trying to be friends with a billionaire and you haven't even made over $100,000 a year, that person isn't probably going to want to be your friend. Like, they
oh,
just aren't. But what if you made $1 billion as well? What if you made $1 trillion generated with something? Then that person would have more of a liking to be around you because they know that, oh, hey, this person's at the same caliber. And so same thing, just to apply it to like the audience that you do have. You know, like if you want to attract better friends, better women in your life, you have to develop yourself first to be able to attract better. And I think this is something that you noticed. Like once you moved to Miami and you were just forced. You didn't have all those old friends around you anymore. You went through a lonely phase for like 6 months. I remember you saying like, I don't have friends. Like there's nobody. I feel so lonely, this and that. But that was actually what you needed at the time.
yeah, because it allows you to reflect on yourself. And I think when you reflect on yourself, not I think, I fucking know. When you reflect on yourself, you figure out what it is that you actually value. And it's a clear indication of what you value by what you prioritize on a daily. I, for the longest, said I was a book girl. I love books. I have so many books. I had a lot of books, but I was binge watching the fuck out of TV shows. Therefore, proving that I do not value nor do I prioritize education. I was valuing and prioritizing entertainment because I was seeking out that instant comfort and gratification. Watch a show, I feel good, I'm relaxed, I'm chill. But then that leads into a longing for more purpose in my life. Or then I had to go against the grain and be like, no, I am going to prioritize reading. This is going to happen, right? Leading up to the community that I have now, I'm like, I'm going to double down on reading. I'm going to create a book club to literally force my ass to read. Doing whatever it takes to prioritize the things you really do want to value, even if it doesn't come naturally. Because I grew up watching TV. I grew up, that was my escape. I fell asleep to TV. So I had to retrain my brain to love education, to love learning. That wasn't something that just happened, but being with myself long enough, being bored long enough, forced me to get creative with my time. that no matter how many TV shows I watched, it was never fulfilling enough. But now when I learn something, I have something to talk about. When I learn something, I have something to teach. When I learn something, I now have knowledge that no matter how much money I lose, if all my clothes burned, if all of my people in my life were to die, nobody is able to take the knowledge that I have. That's something that is mine, and nobody can take that from me. That is why I became obsessed with learning all that I can learn, especially when it comes to the topic about addiction. I want to know the ins and outs. I want to be able to have debates with people. I want to be able to pick people's brains. But it's a lot harder to do these days because the majority of people are so easily offended. Right?
Yeah. But the only reason why you ended up becoming that person that wants to be better and everything is because you were just, well, no, you were consistently around other people that were doing that.
Well, yeah, I was around you and your brother at the time, Joseph, and then we started to go to the events, and I started to see people of
high caliber.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People want better, but unless you're exposed to better, you don't know what better is. My better at the time was like, I just want to be around people who don't gossip.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and you're like, so here's this entrepreneur. I'm like, what's an entrepreneur? What's a CEO? What? I thought everybody just had jobs, 9 to 5. Like, I was so uneducated because I didn't know. And the people who I hung around weren't necessarily talking about,
any of that.
Huge life change. And even if they were, I was too fucked up to even realize it or, be interested in it. And so I think drinking for as many years as I did, doing as many drugs as I did, kept me from having a good environment because when you do drugs, you lower your expectations, right? You may say, I'm going to eat healthy and go to the gym, but what ends up happening is you fall shy of your goals every single time because when you're messed up, you don't follow through. When you feel shitty from being messed up, you don't follow through. You can make promises and not even remember that you made promises because you're too messed up. Every time any drug was in the equation of my life, it always kept me from my truest potential. And sure, life got pretty boring for a second because my dopamine levels were dropping back down to normal levels. I didn't have friends at the time. It was a lot of self-reflecting. And any journey that is challenging is gonna be hard. Especially when you have to distance yourself from friends and family that you've had around for 10, 20 plus years. It's hard, right? But the healing journey ain't for the weak. It really isn't. You gotta want it. You have to hate your circumstances so much to the point that you're willing to change. And that's why it is a lot harder for people who don't necessarily have a drinking problem but want to cut it out of their life for them to easily fall back into it because they never really had a big enough reason to distance themselves from it. So for that, I feel lucky. Thank God I had an addiction problem because it was a huge eye-opener for all the other bad habits that I had. Because once I had tackled my addiction to drugs, I then realized hey, homie, you got a food issue too. You're addicted as shit to food. You're addicted to TV. You're addicted to that fake dopamine.
Well, cheap.
Cheap.
Because it's definitely real.
I mean, no, that shit's real, but it's cheap. And then I found pleasure, oddly enough, in the pain of things. I'm like, damn, this 75 hard is hard. Or damn, reading this book is, challenging because I have to look up every single fucking word because I never paid attention in school. And so it's I'm having to relearn life essentially. And then that's the last topic I'll talk about, which is just with environment. it's not that you become judgy, but you become hyper aware of the things that people do and they say, and it's so hard to socialize after that point with people who aren't on the same level or in the same circle of, common interest, because if you're sober and the people around you aren't stimulating your mind, it's like you want to throw yourself into like a burning fire. Not to be dramatic. But it's really hard to have meaningless conversations at that point. Maybe it's just like an ex-addict mind. I don't know. But like if the conversation is not stimulating me, I zone out. Whereas before, oh, like I'm not stimulated, like I'll just drink and like everybody becomes my friend.
And you'd just sit there listening to unstimulating conversations, non-intelligent conversations,
Yeah, and same with activities
or
like
yeah,
drunk games.
whack ass activities. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go to my friend's house every Friday and Saturday, and I'm gonna play fucking whatever. Let's put the table down. Let's put the cups. Yeah, let's play
Beer
this for the
pong,
rest of my
fucking
life.
Jenga, fucking Cards Against Humanity, fucking Flip Cup, Rage Cage, like all the games that I used to play drunk, putting myself in that environment and thinking of playing those games sober, no fucking way. Like the games we play, like when we play games, it's like chess. It's like thinking games. And I don't know, I just feel like you waste so much of your life just doing average activities which give you an average life.
Yeah. And I think this is important, right? It's probably something we should have added to the beginning of the episode. But if you've made it this far and you've got triggered or you've got slightly offended, um, that typically means some of this is referring to you, right? And this can be applicable to your life. And so the best thing that you can do for this is just reflect. Like, damn, yeah, if I look at the people around me, like and you came to the conclusion that those weren't the greatest people, or if somebody asked you like, okay, show me your three friends, and they'd say like, they'd ask you, really? Those are your friends? Would you feel offended or would you feel proud? Right? That somebody's, addressing your friends in that manner. Like, those are your friends? Would you be proud or would you be offended? And if you're feeling offended or something, that is only because something that is being spoken about is true to you. And the best thing that you can do is not get offended by those things. It might trigger you and be like, ah, oh, like this feeling sucks, but great. Now you're aware. And awareness, right? Like we have stage 1 awareness in the Sobriety 7 community. That's why awareness is the very first stage, because the beginning to all improvement in anything is awareness. If you don't realize that your friends suck ass, then you can't take some of the first steps to becoming sober more and more because you're not even aware of it. And so, this episode, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shy, but like this episode serves as a message to become aware of the people that you have around you because those are going to be your biggest influences. And if you want to be looking like the average of those people 5-10 years down the line, keep doing what you're doing, right? At the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, like, how bad do you want change? Like, are you willing to just be alone for a little. And if you're alone, you know, as a woman, and you're going through your sobriety journey, it's like you have this community that got created with all these women that are striving to be better. It's like the people are out there. You know exactly where to find them. But are you willing to go through that little pain in the beginning of just letting go of what's familiar and starting to embrace the unfamiliar and new people and better people and people that are on the same path as you? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to let go of what's comfortable?
Well, same path and might be a little ahead of you, but that's the thing that you want. You want people a little out of reach around you, so it inspires and encourages you to want more. Too long, I settled for mediocre. What is it?
Mediocrity.
Mediocrity? Mediocrity?
Mediocrity.
Mediocrity.
Yeah.
Like a mediocre life because I wasn't
A bleh life.
I wasn't chasing after anything.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, that was no way to live. Now it's not like you can't have friends around you who don't have as, you know, big of goals as you. But what I have found through this journey specifically is that the bigger your goals are, the less true, real, genuine friends you have there to help hoist you up and push you towards that. Not because they don't love you or care about you, but because they just don't get it.
And a lot of people are living their own lives too.
Yeah, and everybody has their own journey, their own path. The whole reason for this podcast is just to shed awareness, like the importance of who you're around. Like it matters. Like I would say there are a lot of important things in your sobriety journey, but I would say this is by far the most important thing, which is to get started, right? And if you're still going, like more awareness never hurt anybody. Awareness and environment. Be aware of where you allocate your time. Be aware of where you spend your money. Be aware of who you give your energy to. Because that's what's really going to make or break your success when it comes to anything in life, right? You don't want to be hiring a personal trainer to get you fit who's 40, 50 pounds overweight. You don't want to hire a speech therapist who doesn't speak English, right?
Or hire a sobriety coach that's still drinking.
Yeah, or hire a sobriety coach that's still drinking. You want to make sure that where you're putting your money, it's to help you get ahead and learn it quicker. And the same thing with your time. Like if you were to really value your time, you would be so far ahead. And that's the thing that I did. I did everything for everyone and everything rather than myself. Like, what does Shy need? What does she need right now? Like, is it to drive to the airport at 2 a.m. and drop off a friend who hasn't been able to do anything for me for the past 10 years? Right? Well, at one time I... So, just being very selective with who you give your time, where you spend your energy, who you give your energy, and where you spend your money. And just having that awareness of your environment, and that it's so, so, so crucial when it comes to your sobriety journey, when it comes to your life, shit, and our relationship. You work a lot. We don't always have time to just sit here and do a podcast. We don't have time to we literally carve out time one Sunday to have a couple hours together. And some Sundays, we sacrifice that Sunday. Most Sundays for business, for things to push us ahead.
But here's the thing, we're aligned.
Yeah.
We both know, right? Sometimes we struggle a little bit. Sometimes you're like, I need time. But like, you know, we both want to be somewhere. We want to create something very huge, and those goals are aligned. And since we're both on the same page with that, we know that with those goals and what we're looking to achieve to create a huge impact on this planet, it's going to take some sacrifice. Something has to give. So bringing it back to the topic, something has to give. You either level up and those people around you come up with you and you all win and get better, or you start coming up and those people decide to stay at the same level that they're in, and eventually you're just like, damn, I need to come back down for them. You lose. That's when you lose. When you start leveling up and you're like, oh, like I feel alone. Like I want to have people around me. Like I have all my old friends. Like why do I have to stop going to see them? Boom. That's when you start going back down the levels to go be around those people, opposed to just continuously going up and eventually finding those people that are going up the floors, metaphorically, in a elevator, instead of you keep going up and finding people that, hey, they enter the elevator with you to go to higher and higher and higher floors. You decide to get out that elevator and start getting to an elevator that's going back down, which is only going to worsen your life. And so, like you said, right, in the beginning, like that is one of the easiest things that you can do to start to like jumpstart your sobriety journey. Like, start getting rid of the noise. Start getting rid of the wasted time and energy on your daily basis. You're putting time and energy into all these other people for what? Because you want to gossip. You want the short the short term dopamine, or the cheap dopamine of gossiping, just fucking drinking alcohol and having like a mediocre life. No, it's like nobody ultimately wants that, but you're just gonna have to make those sacrifices, and that's one of the first and easiest sacrifices that you can make. But it's not easy. It's easy in a sense, but it can be very difficult. But here's the thing: if you take the easy road in your life, you're never, ever, ever gonna get anything that's worth having if you consistently take the easy road. Now, if you consistently take the hard road on a daily basis, guess what? The universe will reward you for that.
Absolutely. And it's like, if you're going to risk anything on anyone, put all that risk into yourself. Like, full fucking send. Like, bet all on you. And that's what I did when I quit that job. It was scary. That's what we did when we moved from California to Florida, drove 51 hours straight with 3 pit bulls in the back, through a monsoon, straight into Hurricane Ian. Like, to say that I was scared is an understatement. We hadn't even ever been to Florida. We had no idea what to expect, but we were ready to be around people who were where we wanted to be and to work hard. But that meant risking it all. We literally left our furniture back home.
Yeah.
So, and when I get here, I quit because I know that I was destined for greatness. And I believe that. And maybe at the time, my actions didn't show that, but deep down, I always knew that I was put here to do something more. I just didn't know what that more was. And it took me risking it all, betting on myself, figuring my shit out, doing something so fucking hard, so challenging, never had been done before in my family. And I was like, but I'm gonna do it fucking anyways. Because that is the person I want my future child to look up to and admire. Like, wow, she really set out to do what she said she was gonna do. She really got her shit together. Even though everybody told me I was going to be a failure. Everybody told me, oh, you'll be just like your father. Everybody told me, don't move to Florida. There's crocodiles everywhere. There's hurricanes all the time. I had so many doubters, but I believed in myself. And our relationship when we moved to Florida was rocky, but we figured it out, and we communicated, and we respected each other, and we went all fucking in. We're like, we're going to figure this out. Whatever it takes, we're going to do it. And now I was trying to go through sobriety all at the same time. So it's like when you ask yourself, oh, it's going to be hard, or you tell yourself it's going to be hard, and fucking what? I love where we're at in life right now. And it took a lot of sacrifices, and there was a lot of ups and a lot of fucking downs.
Yeah.
But we came out way stronger, way more resilient, way more able to handle anything thrown our way. We get a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of discomfort. We're like, let's go.
Well, I mean,
let's fucking do it.
If we're being real, right? It's like that. Sometimes it's just, it can be scary. There has been a lot of times where like uncertainty kicks in hard. Like, hey, these are the facts. Like, this is how much debt you're in. Or like, dude, you just quit a job that was fucking horrible. I was completely with you, like leaving that job, but like, cool, there's no other job. Like I'm the only one working, and so like everything's gonna rely on me. There's gonna be so many things, and it's gonna fucking rock you and shit, but you have to stay in it and just not have the energy drainers, the fucking people that are gonna pull you down. Because I can guarantee you, right, if we were going through all that stuff, but we were over here giving time and energy to people that didn't deserve it, or were not giving anything back in return, like they weren't a net positive in our lives, we would have been at a much worse place.
Yeah.
And so the best thing that you can do early in your sobriety is, right, to like just put a pin to it. Like, the best thing that you can do in your sobriety is just assess the people that you have around you. Be real. It's gonna suck. Some people just ain't gonna be it. That's just a fact. They're not gonna be it, and you gotta be willing to create that separation for yourself so you can give all that energy and time that you now gain back. Guess what? Now you can put it into yourself and be better, so then eventually, you're not going to be alone forever. And especially not if you're in sobriety 7, right? But now you have all that time and energy to put into you and continuously keep improving, so you can find better and attract better and better people.
Right. And that's the thing. We'll leave it on this note. Not everybody's meant to be in your life forever. And you just got to come to terms with that. That means friends, families, partners. You outgrow some people. You will never outgrow yourself. You will only evolve if you allow it. But you can also stay complacent at the same time. Some people come into your life for a chapter. Some come in for a season. Some are lifelong friends that you'll have forever. But you don't know. Only time can tell. But always watch out for your best interest. And make sure that you're protecting yourself and protecting your heart, because nobody's coming for you. Nobody here is more special than anybody else. We're all here having this human experience while experiencing these human emotions. And you want to make sure that you protect your emotions and you protect your heart, especially down the path of sobriety, because you're at your most peak vulnerability. But thank you, Mr. Luis Castro, #SexyFace. till next time, where we'll be discussing the next sobriety topic, life hack, tips and tricks, things like that of that nature, with a new guest speaker. Who knows? Maybe I'll bring back Lou one day. But until next time, in the meanwhile, like, comment, subscribe.
This is episode 1.
This is episode 1, motherfucker.